Well, hello and welcome to another Daily Dominion. It's Sunday, so that means we have campaign features of a campaign level, I think it was 7 or 8. And in this one, it's that rope has a stamp called Pay Later. And yeah, that stamp means that the rope's cost becomes debt. And it also has a funny interaction as a rope is also cheap and is supposed to cost one less. But since the stamp replaces the cost first with debt cost, the cost is not reduced at all because this cannot refer to the debt cost and therefore it doesn't find any coins that the rope would cost. Yeah, but anyways, let's dive into this kingdom. Let's see what it has in store for us. As always, I will start by showing the kingdom, and if you're not interested in that, feel free to skip to the next timestamp. We have Bauble. Choose two different options. +1 buy, +1 coin, +1 favor. So these are the first three of the two, and then the last one says, this turn when you gain a card, you may put it onto your deck, which is nice for reliability. And yeah, Bauble is okay. Now it is a liaison, and that means it can give you favors. And in this kingdom, favors can be used for Fellowship of Scribes. And this is an ally saying that after playing an action, if you have 4 or fewer cards in hand, you may spend a favor for +1 card. And we start with 1 favor in the beginning, and thus, yeah, we are going to use this maybe even on turn 2. Oh, actually, I completely forgot about this stuff. Yeah, since we start with the Necropolis, I gotta refine my opening discussion. Darn. Well, I think I will just yeah. It's an option I didn't think about initially when just superficially looking at the kingdom. Anyways, I'm not sure that the favors are worth that much because you have to spend something drawing the bauble first. It's essentially +1 coin sometime. But yeah, we have Faithful Hound, +2 cards. When you discard this other than during cleanup, you may set it aside and put it into your hand at end of turn. And yeah, that means that it has a nice synergy with stuff like Artificer, which can discard stuff, or Storeroom, can also discard stuff. And the two cards by themselves are, of course, not super strong, especially since the only villages here, Necropolis and Conclave, are hand size decreasing. Yeah, well. So with playing these villages and Faithful Hounds, you will never be able to increase your hand size. However, you will be able to increase your hand size of the coming turns by discarding them. Monastery. For each card you've gained this turn, you may trash a card from your hand or a copper you have in play. Pretty simple. Can be decent trashing especially in kingdoms with like horses or something like that, but here not sure, not convinced. Rope is just stronger, I think. Storeroom. +1 buy, discard any number of cards, then draw that many, then discard any number of cards for +1 coin each. And yeah, you see how this might synergize with Faithful Hound. It's also +buy, it can sometimes cycle you through your deck. But yeah, let's see. Bart. +2 coins, receive a boon, and boons are those 12 different things that give you a small little bonus. Um, because Bard's boons are completely random, it's usually, I don't know, a terminal silver with a random effect slapped onto it. Not super duper good, but sometimes it's viable. Here, I think it's outclassed by the other 4-cost cards, such as Clerk, +2 coins. Each other player with 5 or more cards in hand puts 1 onto their deck. And at the start of your turn, you may play this from your hand. And this means that you can play it non-terminally if you find it in your hand at the beginning of turn, or if you've top decked one using Bauble, for example, or Artificer. Um, And also it synergizes nicely with Way of the Owl, because if you don't have to play it as the top part, we can also just play it as Way of the Owl, as we can play any action card here. And Way of the Owl says draw until you have 6 cards in hand. And that, of course, makes Clerk, um, yeah, having 2 clerks in hand optimal, because you can play one for the effect to have your opponent discard, and then the second one for Way of the Owl, drawing you 3 cards, and then you still have your initial action. Yeah, the attack can be pretty annoying, but sometimes, yeah, here with Way of the Owl and Fellowship of Scribes, not super sure, and also with, well, yeah, I don't know, but it also is not countered by Faithful Hound like other discard attacks are. Anyways, I'm starting to ramble. Conclave is a village saying +2 coins. You may play an action card from your hand that you don't have a copy of in play. If you do, you also get +1 action. So it's a terminal silver if you don't have new action cards in your hand. Otherwise, it is a village and gives you, essentially lets you play 1 action and gives you another action. Rope, +1 coin, +1 buy, and at the start of your next turn, +1 card, and you may trash a card from your hand. And that means, yeah, well, that you can, yeah, well, that you cycle through your deck quicker. It means that you have coins, you have buy. It's a really strong card, and here you can even buy it without having the money in hand, like we do right now. For 3 coins we can just buy it immediately because it has this debt cost stamp. Pay later. And yeah, I've also heard from people on the Discord that they accidentally left-clicked it, like in this stage, because normally left-clicking your cards before having played the treasures won't do anything because you cannot buy them. But here you can accidentally buy a rope and it will immediately skip your turn, and you'll have to live with the sins you've committed. I don't know. Uh, be careful with that. Artificer. +1 card, +1 action, +1 coin. Discard any number of cards. You may gain a card onto your deck, costing exactly 1 per card discarded. And that this, of course, also synergizes nicely with Way of the Owl, and because if you first discard your hand and play another card as Way of the Owl, it could be really strong. But yeah, the action situation is a bit limited, so you can only do that so often. But yeah, also the synergy with Faithful Hound is there. It's nice. Pilgrim. +4 cards, put a card from your hand onto your deck. Pretty standard draw card. I think we are going to get one. Also, just because Conclave likes differently named actions, but we're not going to go super ham on the draw with this. Yeah, I think that actually, because I mentioned Way of the Owl in between and Fellowship of Scribes in between and Cheap in the beginning, we're done with the Kingdom discussion. So, well, 8.5 minutes in, quite some time. But yeah, let's look at the Kingdom plot. This Kingdom offers everything that the engine heart desires. We have a village in Conclave and Necropolis, which we will have to note is rather limited, actually. We have draw in, well, Faithful Hound, Pilgrim, Way of the Owl, actually pretty okay. And gains in Artificer, there's this plus buy in Rope and Storeroom and Bauble. There's an attack in Clerk, which can be annoying. Thinning is provided through Rope, should be pretty easy. Monastery, I think, is outclassed a lot by Rope, because Rope gives you something on the turn you play it and then trashes later, even drawing you the card back. While Monastery, well, you have to work for it. You have to gain cards, and then you have to have remaining cards in your hand at the end of turn. And therefore, yeah, Rope should be much superior. As for the openings, yeah, I did not consider a huge factor here, which is that we start with shelters. Um, you can see my initial thoughts on the openings, but this does not consider Necropolis. So since we do have the Necropolis in the things, let me remove this for now. It's actually really huge to find the Necropolis turn 2 because you will be able to open Rope and then on turn 2 play Necropolis using Way of the Owl. Initially I thought Fellowship of Scribes, but it makes more sense if you don't have any other terminal action card in your deck to draw 2 cards instead of just 1 and waste your favor. So yeah, I think what you want to do here is in almost any opening split, open Rope and then play the Necropolis as Way of the Owl. If you find the Necropolis on turn 1, that's slightly worse because you're going to so if we now play turn 2, we won't shuffle those 4 coppers into the next cards and are more likely to immediately find the opening buy. Otherwise, well, I mean, if you find the Necropolis turn 1, you might also find a turn 2, and then it's amazing. So, I don't know. But I think I scrapped my opening discussion. I actually wanted to mention this unfortunate opening, and the last one, as you can see, an A plus opening, just buying Rope without ever paying playing any treasures. No, but to be fair, to be honest, I think in any case, maybe except for the 5-2, but even on the 5-2, I would just buy Rope turn 1, pay off the debt, and play the Necropolis turn 2. And on 2-5, play the Necropolis turn 1, buy Rope, shuffle, and hope to find the Rope as soon as possible. Looks pretty solid here, so let's go for that. And then we will try to build a deck with Clerks, Conclaves, Artificers, Pilgrims, Faithful Hounds, and see where we go from there. So yeah. Yeah, the nasty thing about not playing treasures before buying the Rope is also that you're not even asked whether you want to pay off the debt, right? So yeah, it's really nasty. So here we unfortunately don't find the Rope on turn 2. And also we don't hit 4, which I would have loved, but well, what can you do? For a clerk, we can buy another Rope and pay off the debt once again. Now we can buy the clerk here, and we'll draw 1 card next turn. Do we want another Rope? I don't think so. Not for 4 debt. We might still be able to buy it next turn. Essentially, especially since we are going to hit. Going to find the other Rope. Here I could trash the Overgrown Estate to draw into this Rope, but actually I don't even need to. So we can just play this Necropolis as Way of the Owl and draw 2 cards, and it's good. Of course we have the 1 in 5 chance of drawing the Clerk dead, but what can you do? I think this should be a Conclave or another Rope, one of those two. There's 4 coppers on top, which is of course pretty bad, but well. Let's get another Rope in and they both look pretty okay. Conclave is a bit more money. We don't really need. Well, no, Conclave is potentially draw, so let's go for the Conclave. I'm saying this and I'll probably not play it for draw, but yeah. Actually, scrap that. I will play this for draw and I won't play this Clerk right now because we can play Conclave and then Owl the Clerk and draw 3 cards. I think that's the best course of action and try to find another Rope and hit 5 for Artificer. It's not that important that we hit AI's hand here, I think. So yeah, we do find a Rope, which is great. Can pick up another Artificer, or our first Artificer actually, and a Faithful Hound or another Rope at this point. We're still not super nicely trashed, so maybe going for 1 more Rope is the right course of action. Here I am going to trash the overgrown estate. Let's do this first. Let's see what we get here. This is of course not super great. And actually, no, I should have played the clerk first. Well, um, because now anything we do kind of sucks. Yeah, this was not a good course of action. I think what we need to do actually is owl this clerk to draw 2 cards. Yeah, this was not great, but we can pick up another Artificer. We didn't find any of our ropes, and yeah, I feel like the draws in this run so far have been pretty cursed. Let's draw a bit more. Play this Artificer to top deck a Faithful Hound, which we can draw in if we so want to. And do we want to draw this? Could also, oh, actually we could discard 4 cards and top deck another Conclave and draw that, and a few. And then in principle we could also draw further. The question is, do we want to? Next turn there are there is Clerk on there. I think we just leave this stuff and pick up 2 Faithful Hounds maybe, or a Pilgrim. Actually, no, let's scrap that. Let's use that favor to play this Conclave, pick up Pilgrim, Faithful Hound, and yeah, see where we go from there. Yeah, AI is moving along quite well as well. It's actually scary. But yeah, I mainly blame this on our awful early draws. Like, I think we had kind of the worst of the early draws that we could have gotten. So here, yes, let's play this normally for once. It won't change that much for AI. And of course, yeah, I don't know. The draws are cursed in this kingdom. I have nothing to say about this. Um, yeah, and AI, of course, properly assembles everything. Let's see. That's looking really bad actually for us, because we didn't get going, and AI picks up another gold, another conclave. We at least get to trash out the copper. Let's play this pilgrim. Top deck something. Play the conclave for Artificer, which can top deck another faithful hound. We can, yeah, gain yet another faithful hound. Draw up here using the Necropolis. Or do we want to? Yeah, I think we need to do that. Now can also discard this faithful hound, top deck a conclave, play the clerk, play the rope, and go for more artificer faithful hound stuff. Yeah, let's go for more artificer. They can top deck more faithful hounds. Let's see, AI, okay, gains a province, and we should do so as well soon. Let's discard those to top deck one more. Play the conclave, and then owl this to draw 3 cards instead of just 2. Top deck one more. I think that's alright. Could also think about top decking a storeroom in order to um, have more unique action cards. I think I like that. Now here we don't do anything. There goes my alarm. And decline that. Play the storeroom as Way of the Owl to draw 5 cards. Now, yeah, I think this is looking alright. We should again top deck more Faithful Hound. Do the same thing once again, more Faithful Hound. Play this Pilgrim as a draw 6 cards, which is amazing. And yeah, end our turn here. Go for province and another province and a rope. Problem of this is that it's getting kind of scary actually with AI's ropes coming in. There's 3 artificers and 2 conclaves left, or are we setting ourselves up for a pile out? Well, we are ahead in points, so I think I'm okay getting this rope, but it yeah. The bad thing about rope being pay later is that we cannot gain one using Artificer, but we could gain a storeroom or whatever um, to have the third buy if we so were if we so needed. So yeah, since this last rope would be essentially free, I think I'm refraining from gaining it. Yeah, let's see what the AI will do. We'll probably draw its deck here. And yeah, let's see. Maybe we should have gone for this rope, but I really don't know. No, but at this point, the only goal we have is to triple province here. So how are we going to achieve this? I think one of them should be gained by just discarding a bunch of stuff, right? And then one more should be gained by, or 2 more should be gained um, by just buying them. Maybe, yeah. I think that's the best course of action. We can conclave this clerk to draw up. Conclave the pilgrim. And we are almost at a point where we have enough money. Yeah, let's see. If we were to play Necropolis and then I just want to make sure we are hitting what we need to hit. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards we could discard at this point. If we play Faithful Hound, yeah, I think that's already a guaranteed win. Amazing. Yeah, we can just be very lazy and get those last 2 provinces by discarding a bunch here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Top deck a province and buy the last province and be done with this kingdom. And yeah, this was 11 turns, pretty fast, even though our draws really felt awful in the beginning. I think AI's big mistake was that it didn't do any Faithful Hound stuff and it just went for those golds, which, I mean, it gave the AI lots of payload. to buy those provinces, but yeah, it didn't really get the gist of what else you could do in this kingdom. Like the Artificer Faithful Hound stuff really was super nice. And yeah, as I said, I feel like our early draws were not super great. Of course, having the Necropolis turn 2 was already a nice thing to happen. So who am I to complain? But I felt we were behind, and AI was well on its way with all of those ropes with no real junk in its deck, and some good Conclave Pilgrim action going. But yeah, in the end, we managed to prevail getting those Faithful Hounds in, having a bit of village via Conclave. And I think Way of the Owl was really fun here, and we used the ally, the Fellowship of Scribes' favor pretty well as well, I think. And yeah, this kingdom didn't really feel like a campaign kingdom because the rope being that cost didn't change that much, except for make it openable in any split and also, yeah, not gainable via Artificer. But yeah, I like the Conclave diversification aspect. Yeah, nothing else to mention, I guess. And with that, then I will try to catch you in the next one. And until then, goodbye.